Oh, hey guys, welcome back. So today's a Q&A, and I asked you guys on Instagram to submit your questions. I got some good ones, and I'm basically going to be repotting these philodendron strawberry shake propagations. They're currently living in pond, but I just want to transfer them to moss. Just when it comes to selling them and shipping them, they're a lot lighter. I already repotted a couple because I thought my mic was on, and it wasn't. And thankfully, it was only one question that I answered, so let's jump into it. LECA and pond, how to choose for Hoya. Ultimately, I think it's down to preference first. Obviously, I love to grow plants in LECA. That's usually my go-to, but then pond is always my second. Honestly, both substrates. I think when it comes to my Hoya collection, it's 50-50 when it comes to LECA versus pond. And I mean, this goes for all plants, but Hoyas will love access to water in the form of a reservoir, for example. And also pond and LECA have water retentive properties. Plus, you have the aeration around the substrate. So moving away from Hoya, I mean, that's why the majority of my collection, regardless what plant it is, Monstera, philodendron, anthurium, they're in some sort of passive hydroponic growing medium. If you don't like growing plants in LECA, why would you even do it? Because I prefer it. I have this like rhythm with my plants living in LECA. And so if you're not familiar with that, if that's not what you like to do with your plants, then why would you do it? Saying that also, if your Hoya is growing well in an aerated mix, why change it? I didn't really overthink like what substrate I want to use when it came to my Hoya collection. I just decided, obviously I had success. I feel like I'm going on and on and on again. Let's look at these roots before I forget. They look amazing. I love when you get the bright pink roots and the branching. My Hoya obovata has these black halo-like spots on the leaves. Could it be grow light damage? It could definitely be grow light damage. There's only a few Hoyas that I have that have had that damage. There are some thick leaf Hoyas, like I had this with my Hoya carrii and also my Glabra schlechter, where if the roots are kind of too overwhelmed with water, or the roots are sitting in water or a nutrient solution for a prolonged period of time, sometimes I get those black spots on leaves. And I mean, also the final thing is look for pests. Those are the three things that I usually think it is when I see black spots on my Hoyas. Do you have some variegated alocasias? I don't. I've always wanted a Frydek. Like, I think right now there isn't another alocasia that I would want. I've wanted a Frydek for so long. If you could only collect one genus, which genus would you choose? Ooh, I forgot what I said in my November Q&A, but right now, has anything changed? You know, I think it would be anthurium or Hoya. I think it's gonna have to be anthurium. Wow, who am I? The reason why I would pick anthurium, I feel like I've only scratched the surface with my collection. Seriously, all these roots look so good. And I just feel like there's more to do with anthuriums, like pollination. I don't think I've propagated anthurium enough, so I would wanna learn about that. You know, obviously foliage-wise, like the leaves get really big. I do like the look of big leafed anthuriums, and so I'm very lucky to have, you know, the collection I have. Right now it's anthurium, but it'll probably change in a month. Group classes on planting, please. I haven't been open to like in-person group planting. Maybe like eventually an online thing. What do you guys think? I always thought my viewers were generally like intermediate plant people because y'all are smart. And so I don't know if y'all would want that. Okay guys, my camera's overheating because the sun is out. Oh my god, it's really hot. Okay, I pivoted so the camera wasn't in the sun. I am running a fan right behind the camera, so I'm sorry if there's like this buzzing fan sound. Do you still have your Albo Borsigiana? If so, how did your props turn out? I got rid of my Monstera Albo first after I got spider mites, but then I also thought like, do I really love this plant? The answer was no, so I did get rid of her. Heavily infested. I would never sell those, and at the time, like I was just kind of focusing on plants that I absolutely loved. I just had to get rid of it, guys. How many plants do you own? If you could only choose 5 to keep, which ones would they be? I've said before, like I think it's like 150, but looking around, I think there's less. There might be a little under 100, maybe like 90. And if I could only pick 5, Monstera Burley Marks Flame, Girl Is With Me Forever, Anthurium Metallicum, my Monstera Thai Constellation, Philodendron Strawberry Shake. It's weird that there's no Hoyas on this list. And I think I'm gonna go with my Anthurium Magnificum Regale cross. I don't know. I think it's just such a unique anthurium. Also guys, it is so hard to answer question and repot at the same time. Did I show the roots? I don't even know. Look at these fantastic roots. Okay, Ryan, where that Patreon? Okay, I'm gonna go a little deep because there is a reason why I haven't put out my Patreon. I have this inner voice that I need to like just shove to the side. I do have this inner voice telling me that what I'm putting on my Patreon isn't worth what people are paying for. And there are a few things that I've filmed for it already, but I don't know. I find it so different if I'm asking you guys to pay to see my content. I don't know, it's hard to explain, and I just need to get over it. Have you ever tried to prop orchids with their flower spikes as wet sticks? No, but is that a thing? Let me know if that's a thing. I haven't really looked into it, but I might be open to that if that's a thing. What are your most difficult plants and how to manage to keep them alive doing better? Y'all know my Anthurium waterburyanum is a trouble child. I guess I would have to say Paphiopedilums also, just because I'm not that familiar with growing them. And you know, I've been experimenting in the past few weeks and it's been very hit or miss. I might talk about this in a plant tour video in the future. And how do you manage to keep them alive or doing better? For me, it's kind of trial and error. And so I was thinking, not in this video, but I was thinking of repotting my waterburyanum just to look at the roots. I ultimately think I need to spray the leaf or flush the plant a little bit more. And for my Paphiopedilums, again, I'm experimenting with them in pond. You just have to try new things, read things about the plants, just so you generally know what the plant likes, and just try new things. How on earth do your Hoyas grow so prolifically? They seem to grow so quick and big. Light? Number one, light. And also I think the substrate. When you look at Hoyas and where they grow, yes, a lot of them do grow in tropical areas, but there are a lot that grow on cliffs, for example. There are a lot that grow up trees. So I mean, knowing that and knowing how much air Hoyas generally have around the roots in nature, I think that's why when they're growing in pond, when they're grown in LECA, they do really well. There must be a reason why Hoya stems have the ability to root from literally any part of the stem. Why do you think that is? Based on what I know, it's to latch on something, root on that specific thing, whether it's a tree or cliff, and you know, gather water and nutrients that way. I'm trying to think of an example, but like think of Phalaenopsis orchids. There's a reason why you don't put them in a dense mix. Phalaenopsis are epiphytic plants that grow on trees. Specifically, they'll wrap their roots around the tree. And again, this goes with other plants, philodendrons, monsteras, some anthuriums. But anyhow, that's my opinion. Has your boyfriend ever accidentally ran into or broke one of your plants? There was one day I was at work. This was like maybe 2 years ago. And he messaged me and he was like, the gigantic MOHENA chrysum leaf is on the floor. And he took a picture. He didn't say he broke it. He just said he found it there. I found that hard to believe. I mean, it was a leaf that was pretty strong. And it's like, guys, I can't multitask. Okay, let me just like focus for a sec. Okay, do you ever talk to your plants? Not like ongoing sentences, paragraphs of sentences. It's more like, oh my God, look at you. Very like, oh, hi everyone. Like that, like general statements, not like conversational. Can you imagine? So what I told him was basically what you told me to say. Hardest philodendron and Monstera to mature. Philodendron wise, y'all know my opinion about the juvenile MOHENA chrysum. How do people ever get that to mature from like a tiny little plant? But I do want to say the philodendron Burley Marks Fantasy. I was so frustrated with that plant. And you know, I got rid of that plant like a year or two ago. So it's been a while since I've owned it. Obviously with the knowledge I have now, I think I can make it thrive. But the leaves, when it's a baby plant, they're just so tiny. And like, not only do the leaves get stuck like a MOHENA chrysum, but like they don't get big. I don't know. So that's what I would say philodendron wise. Monstera. Okay, Monstera standaliana. Do the leaves get any bigger than what they are? What are your fave plant shop sellers in Toronto and Canada and or for international import? So I don't buy any of my plants internationally. So I only buy from Canadian sellers. At the top of my list, North Shore Tropicals. Again, the first plant I bought from North Shore Tropicals was my Monstera Thai Constellation. And also, my philodendron strawberry shake is from North Shore Tropicals. I don't know. I really like North Shore Tropicals. Hey, Lauren. I mean, here in Toronto, House of Monstera was one of the first ones also. That's where I got my Burley Marks Flame. Crystal Star Nursery, mainly if you're looking for orchids or Hoyas. And Roehampton Orchids. Now that I've gotten into like Phalaenopsis and Paphiopedilums, like Roehampton Orchids is a place that I got a lot of my orchids. Okay, I need to concentrate, guys. Hold on. Okay, where do you get your big moss poles? I think you're talking about the North Shore Tropical moss poles. They have 4 different sizes. Even if you don't get the large one, these moss poles are stackable. So you would just have to buy a few if you want a really tall one. But when I was starting off my plant journey, Trofolia, they have these moss poles. I still have them. Not on any of my plants just because I went through a phase where I wasn't growing plants on moss poles. I still like them a lot. Those are the ones ones where you could put water inside of it and it stays wet longer. I know Wild Fern has a few of her plants on Trofolia moss poles. And also, guys, I gave up on showing the roots and plant because they all look the same. They're all strawberry shakes. Hey, Steven from Northern Foliage. Do you want to come to England so I can show you around? We have a spare room. So sweet. I mean, definitely on my list of places to go. Maybe sometime in the future. What's your boyfriend's favorite plant? He doesn't have one. He actually has zero interest in my plants. Zero, zero, zero. I asked again today. He didn't give me an answer. He was like, I don't know. Oh my God, when are you coming to London so I can take you to Kew Gardens? Again, I would love to go. Do you find that when a hobby becomes a job, it becomes less exciting? See, that's a tough one. I would say yes and no. When I'm comparing it to, you know, being on YouTube, you know, I get excited about sharing all this plant stuff with you guys. It becomes less exciting when I kind of have to try to innovate the content. Like, I guess that's when it gets less exciting, when I kind of feel forced to do something that I don't necessarily want to do. I haven't done that though with my content recently. I think every video that I've posted recently, like, I've wanted to film it. The only other thing I could compare to is baking, maybe. There was a period of time where I was making like big batches of cupcakes for my work, and I started to kind of feel pressured to do it. So at that point, I kind of started hating baking, which was annoying because if I was just baking for myself or my boyfriend, I would love it. Ultimately, I don't think I'm gonna get bored of this anytime soon, or like, I'm gonna still think this is fun, sharing my plant journey with you guys. Okay, Kevin, you need to concentrate and repot plants. Okay, have you ever been interested in gardening? Have you ever wanted to grow flowers from seed? If I lived on a property that had space to have a garden, you better believe I would be interested. Being in a condo, being limited, you know, with this space and like a balcony that is very small. And I've tried 2 years in a row to grow flowers. It gets extremely windy when you're high up in a condo. So those failed. The only things that were successful were sunflowers because they grow like weeds. And I mean, every single day they would just knock over because of the wind. So if in the future, you know, I do move into like a house, then yeah, I would be interested in it. How early does the spring come in Canada? Do you find the winter hard to endure? Greetings from Finland. Hey. Do you know what? I actually like the cold. I'm gonna say this again. I really enjoy the cold. I mean, in the past few years, spring has kind of been really weird in regards to timing. It's generally been like more cold, you know, into March and April. Personally, I'm fine with the winter. I have no issues with it. What was the last plant that gave you that excited butterflies in the tummy feeling? I would have to say the Hoya Polyneura outer variegated. I mean, I filmed my reaction. I haven't rewatched it, but I remember being very excited. I'm freaking out. I know I'm being dramatic, but I don't think I'm being dramatic. So, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. Hoya Polyneura outer variegated. The one before that would obviously be the Burley Marks Flame. The Burley Marks Flame has been a dream plant for years. I think early 2020, I've wanted that plant. And I finally got it and it's doing so well, guys. A plant that's thriving in each genus and a plant that's trying to unalive itself. Unalive, I love that. My Monstera Burley Marks Flame is thriving. On the flip side of Monstera, one that's trying to unalive itself. My Monstera obliqua. That's gonna be a Patreon exclusive when it might be the first video that I post next week on my Patreon. That one. If I were to compare all my Monsteras, it would have to be that one though. Okay, philodendrons. I would say my philodendron melanochrysum and my philodendron UPI are thriving right now. Okay, y'all know that I have a lot of Jose Bono crops, but there is a mother plant that I cut down to the bottom that hasn't done anything for weeks, so I'd have to say that one. Hoya. Okay, Hoya Matilde, thriving. You know, truthfully, I don't think I have a Hoya that's on the struggle bus right now. Anthuriums, I mean, y'all saw my Regal recently. She's thriving, and my Anthurium waterbrianum is definitely trying to unalive itself. What's your plant that grows fastest so you have to repot it more often than others? It would have have to be the Monsteras, just because the roots are generally larger than other plants. And especially when you're trying to grow that root system by adding an additional aerial root into the medium, then that root system or those multiple root systems will kind of take over the pot. So I would say Thai Constellation. How to transition a Monstera Thai Constellation from pon to LECA. I mean, just take it out of pon, shake the excess pon off. If there's pon sticking to the roots, that's also fine, and just put it into LECA. They're both passive hydroponic ways of growing a Thai constellation. And so shock factor is like minimal. I've never done it, but I've transferred a perlite propagation into LECA and I left the majority of the perlite that was on the roots. Is there any variegated plant on your wish list, but it's too expensive at the moment? Oh gosh. I don't know if this counts, but the Monstera White Monster, that one is one. You know, Philodendron Florida Beauty has been on my wish list since 2019. I haven't seen a specimen variegation wise that I've ever been happy with until, oh my god, North Shore Tropicals had one and it was actually pretty cheap. It was decently cheap and I decided against it. I kind of regret it actually. Monstera aurea, the large leaf form. I don't think there's a lot out there. That one is one that I want. Can you imagine my gigantic Thai constellation and a gigantic Monstera large leaf aurea situation beside each other? Oh, where do you find the big net pot? Hello from Finland. Someone else from Finland. Oh my gosh. The net pot is from Indoor Growing Canada. I bought it online, and another place that I buy from is Astral Grow, also located in Canada. And those are the two places. You can buy these at like a hydroponic store. Your dream list anthurium. Okay, luxurians is probably the top of my list right now. I've said red crystallinum, but I think I'm at a point where any hybrid, literally any hybrid, I'm just like so fascinated with how different they'll look from like the same hybrid. I don't know. I just gotta switch the bin, guys. When they were in pon, they were two of these. I clustered them all in one. So, okay, I like this a lot better. I've been sitting down for too long. My butt hurts. My butt hurts. Oh my god, ow. Okay, this is the third tray of strawberry shakes. What is your best experience buying a plant and what is your worst experience buying a plant? Do you know what? I'm gonna have to say when I bought, because if y'all don't know, I actually bought my Monstera Burley Marks Flame, my Monstera Obliqua, and my variegated Monstera Adansonii together. And I bought them all from House of Monstera here in Toronto, and I wanted to pick it up because I mean, obviously, I didn't even want to risk shipping the Burley Marks Flame. And I've bought from House of Monstera in the past, and so I've met Bryce very briefly. But this time, I felt so bad because all I wanted to do, and I'm an introvert, so this was very weird. All I want to do is to talk to Bryce, because when I picked up the plants, I feel like we talked for like half an hour, 45 minutes just about plants. You know, he was very kind, and so yeah, thank you, Bryce, for your kindness. I know I was probably keeping you from something, but that was a very pleasant experience. I think I want to talk to him because there have been times when I picked up plants from House of Monstera in the past and I haven't been able to talk to him. Bryce, if you're watching, you're probably not, but hi, thanks for spending time talking to me about plants. What is my worst experience? There was a plant shop, I'm not gonna name them. I don't even think they sell plants anymore. That's where I got my Anthurium decipens and my Anthurium furcatum. They shipped in like a soil ball and they were just thrown into like a Ziploc, and there was zero padding, zero like securing it to the box. Yeah, I would say that was the worst one. What's the longest you've gone without fertilizing your plants in LECA? I would have to say 6 weeks. And yeah, they were fine. Obviously there were a lot of roots that did dry out completely and I couldn't revive them, but ultimately they had big root systems anyway, so that was fine. You know what, guys? A lot of people link my nutrient solution as being the main reason why my plants are growing big and fast and whatever. I actually strongly believe that root health, like how big the root system, how healthy and big the root system is, how much aeration, I think aeration around the roots is just one of the most important things when it comes to root health. That's ultimately a bigger factor that impacts the general health of a plant than like the nutrient solution for my plants in LECA. Plants that you don't like get the hype around one. There is an outer variegated Hoya. Might be called Snowball. Hoya carnosa CV Snowball. I don't know. I don't like it. I'm not really into variegated anthurium. It's just, I don't like how the variegation looks. If it's a variegated anthurium, I'm not into it. Oh my god, I forgot about the variegated Billietier. Okay, that's another variegated one that is too expensive right now for me to buy that I really, really want. Can we please have more Hoya videos? The last two were so satisfying. For sure, guys, I'm gonna put more Hoya content out there. I've always wanted to, but I was like really scared that no one would watch it just because of the history with Hoya videos on my channel. I will definitely put more. I do want to do a Hoya care guide, and I do still need to propagate a few more Hoyas. So how is Kevin? Kevin's good. You know, I'm doing what I love right now, so that's fantastic. Things are fantastic with my boyfriend and I. Plants are doing great. Like, I'm actually really good, guys. I think ultimately the only thing that has stressed me out recently is overthinking about just various things. Like going back to the Patreon stuff, like that's really stressed me out. I know it shouldn't, guys. And honestly, this whole selling plants business is stressing me out so much. But I like to tell myself that I'll figure it out. You know, in life you'll make mistakes, so I'm ready to make all the mistakes, but also like learn from them. Do you study YouTube analytics for your channel? I have a YouTube, but I hate the analytics part.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So if you're new here, my name's Koa and
Koa? I didn't know you had a YouTube channel. Subscribe. Okay, can we help a girl out? Follow Koa's plant channel. I've been following this girl on Instagram for a little bit, and I like what she posts. I didn't know you had a YouTube channel. Oh my gosh, I feel bad. So YouTube analytics, it's good and bad. And obviously, like, I have a hard time too looking at analytics sometimes when, like, for example, a video doesn't do that well. I guess because I've been doing it for a little bit now that I ultimately know there's going to be ups and downs. It's inevitable, really. I think what helped me the most was just like inner talk, telling myself, Kevin, do the best you can, be yourself, just keep going, and your voice will be heard. In a way, you kind of need to be your own cheerleader. And listen, guys, I feel like we don't celebrate ourselves enough because I truly believed in what I was posting and the content that I was creating. That's kind of what kept me going. Again, did I answer your question, Koa? I'm sorry. Do you study? I like didn't answer the question. Oh my God, I need to focus. When you say study, do you mean like, do you see what videos do well? Yeah, so I mean, that's honestly another reason, guys, why I do plant tour videos. I feel like a lot of you do watch till the end with my plant tour videos, and that's why I make more money off plant tour videos. I also like to see where my audience is from. So half of my viewership is in the US, about 9% is Canada. Then the three countries right behind Canada and the US, Philippines, Australia, and Germany. I thought the Germany one was so wild. Anyways, I feel like I spent so much time not answering that question, but do you let the reservoir dry out before watering your semi-hydro plants again? I don't. There have been times where it's been like the tiniest bit of water in the reservoir, but I try my very best not to dry out the reservoir completely. And I mean, even if the reservoir is dried completely, the LECA can still hold on to a bit of water, but I mean, general consensus is that you shouldn't. What is a proper pot for pond media? Honestly, there's so many types. Like, you could technically grab a cup, fill it up with pond, any size, and put a plant in it. You can get the self-watering pots also. I have a few linked in the description below. Ever been plant scammed? No, I haven't. Thankfully, I haven't. How do you make big plants fit? See, there's a reason why I'm like on the floor against the bed, because I really push them together. And again, that's another reason why my anthuriums have holes, because generally they are my bigger plants and I don't have a spot for them, because this is the rule in my household. All the plants can only be against the window on this side of the room. So for example, I can't have any plants in the living room. The main living room area, I'm not allowed. I just push them together. I'm gonna stop repotting just because there's a few more, but I don't want to put them in moss. Do you ever get overwhelmed by your big plants? They're beautiful, by the way. I love your content. Thank you so much. I've constantly thought about getting rid of some bigger ones, but honestly, I can't. I'm not gonna get rid of my Metallicum. I'm not getting rid of my Thai Constellation. All my big anthuriums I'm not getting rid of. But yeah, I get overwhelmed. It's not something to complain about, but sometimes I just don't know how to put a plant back if I've brought it out, and just how to Tetris everything together. What's your profession? Healthcare? I am still a registered nurse. I just quit my full-time position and I just do it casually, so whenever they need me. So yeah, guys, I guess that's it. Filming Q&As feel weird. I know I personally like watching other people people do Q&As. But anyhow, please let me know if you like this video. And I'm filming this on Sunday today. Fun fact, I love American football. Here's the thing, this is the season I watched the least, so I'm not really familiar. I did do a fantasy league. I came in third, which was fine. But yeah, Chiefs against the Eagles. I'm gonna say Eagles. I think the Eagles are gonna take it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it to the very end, thank you guys so much. I greatly appreciate it. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.